Okay, good morning. Today we are going to discuss, we will continue, we will resume with what we have left off. In the previous classes, we have seen photoelectric effect as a part of dual nature of matter and radiation. In that part only, we will have the concept of photon. So, here in the concept of photon, the light is to be treated as a particle. Einstein thought that light is not a wave, light is a particle, and he assumed that light is a particle, and he explained the concept of photoelectric effect. So in this remaining part, we will discuss what are the characteristic features of the photon, and as well as we will see the wave nature of matter in de Broglie hypothesis. So that concludes this chapter. Okay. Yes. Good evening. So, as we have explained, photoelectric effect was explained by Albert Einstein, considering that light is a particle, but our classical view was light was a wave. So we thought that light was a wave. It was exhibiting interference. It was exhibiting diffraction. Interference and diffraction are the two phenomena which were explained only if you consider light as a wave, not as a particle. But to explain photoelectric effect, to think light as a wave was not sufficient. Thinking light is a wave is not sufficient, is not able to understand the concept of photoelectric effect. That's why Einstein took a rational view and a very revolutionary concept that light is indeed a particle called photon, which is to be treated as a pocket of energy. Light is consisting of pockets of energy like this, and this pocket of energy is having the energy h nu. Energy of each photon is h nu. Each photon has an energy of h nu. What is h? H is called Planck's constant. Using quantum theory of Max Planck, he explained it. H is Planck's constant and mu is the frequency with which the simple harmonic oscillator has produced that light particle. That was the idea of Einstein. So this light particle, it was not Einstein who named this light particle as a photon, it was someone else. Einstein called it as quantum of light. Quantum of light means the basic property of light, basic ingredient of light, basic component of light, basic building block of light. Quantum of light, like the electronic charge E. Electronic charge, the charge over electron is called the quantum of charge, means all charges are made up of this E. All charges are the integral multiples of E. In the same way, every light is an integral multiple of photon, quantum of light. That's why more intensity means more number of photons. More number of photons. Number of photons multiplied by n, it will give you more intense, less intense light. Fine. Okay. That was the idea of Einstein, and according to Einstein, intensity means simply number of photons, number of light particles emitted. Okay. Yes. What are the characteristic features of this photon? Let's discuss. The first thing is, photon is the quantum of light. Photon is the quantum of light. Having energy E is equal to h nu, where h is Planck's constant, and nu is the frequency. Okay. So this is the first point. Second point, which we already discussed it. Okay. Second point. Rest mass of a photon is 0. Rest mass of a photon is 0. Means mu naught is equal to 0. Means what? If light is in motion, it consists of lakhs and crores of photons. But if light is a particle, and if you make that particle stop, if you stop a particular photon, and if you would like to know what is its mass, see, light is a particle means it must be having a mass. Okay, see, a small stone is a particle, we think, and that stone particle has energy, that stone particle has a shape, that stone particle has a mass, that stone particle has a momentum. That's why whenever you throw that stone particle and if it hits you, you will get the pain, you will get the sensation of stroke. It means that stone carries momentum, and that momentum is transferred to another body. That is the characteristic of a particle. First you must know what do you mean by a particle and what do you mean by a wave. See, sound is a wave. If I speak to you, sound waves will not touch you. You will not feel anything that sound is coming and hitting your eardrums. Sound is not a particle. It is simply energy which is perceived. But particle is not like that. If I throw a ball towards you, ball has a shape, ball has a mass, ball has a momentum, you will feel it. Particle has a particular nature. Now we are thinking that light is not a wave, light is a particle means, light is a photon particle stream means that particle must have a mass. What is its mass? And if you stop it, if you stop a ball and if you put it on a balance, it will show you certain amount of mass. In the same way, if you stop a photon and if you try to weigh this particular thing, then its rest mass will be zero. It means a photon does not carry any mass and it is not having any rest mass. Okay? Yes, it doesn't have any inertia. So, it does not have a mass, but it has a momentum. Photon has momentum. Photon has momentum. What do you mean by photon is having a momentum? Means if light falls over a body, that body will feel the presence of light. Just like if you are hit by a ball, you will feel the sensation of hitting of a ball, because the ball in motion will transfer its momentum to you. You can feel the transfer of momentum whenever something hits you. Okay. In the same way, whenever light falls on a particular body, light will impart momentum to this particular body. Light will impart momentum means light will push that body mechanically. Okay. So mechanically it will push the body, means you will not see that we see the light is falling on the board. It's not like board is pressed towards the board, towards the wall. Okay, it's not that energetic. Okay, if you make light more and more powerful, it is possible maybe. But light has something called radiation pressure. Light has radiation pressure, and it is experimentally verified also. Means whenever light falls on certain objects, those objects will feel a pressure, something as if something is pressing you. Okay, that is called radiation pressure, and it is very well measured, and it is a very well known fact. Okay, and sometimes you might have felt, I will also tell you, whenever something goes into your nose, a foreign object, immediately you will get sneezing, right? Scene barutte, scene anta heltivalla, you will get a sensation of feeling. Sneezing means some foreign body enters into your nose. If some foreign body enters into your nose is a sensitive organ. Whenever you are in the shade, immediately if you come to sunlight, some people are so sensitive that whenever they come from house, inside the house to outside to sunlight, they will immediately get sneezing. Immediately they will get scene ಬರುತ್ತಾರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾಕಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ light enters into the nose. Whenever bright light, intense light enters into the nose, that particular fast energetic light will make the nose organs sensitive by imparting momentum to the internal organs, and you will get the sensation of sneezing. Even though in the clean fresh environment, if you just come outside to the sunlight, some people used to get sneezing effect because of this. This is also another phenomenon of radiation pressure. So photon has momentum, and means it we can kick out another particle. Okay, that is the particular aspect in which Einstein has used what he thought. Electron is a particle, right? Electron is a particle, and photon is also a particle. Photon, not proton. Proton, not proton. It is photon, because these two are misleading terms. They are very similar. Photon and proton are different. Proton is something which is in the nucleus of an atom, which is positively charged body, which is having a certain mass of approximately 10 to the power of minus 27 kgs. Okay, photon is massless. It is a light particle, and it is photon. Just remember, photon. Okay, this is proton. That is different. Okay. So PHM, right? This is a light photon. Light photon is a particle, electron is a particle. Particle gets interaction, which is just like two golf balls colliding with each other. So photon collides with electron, and electron will be kicked out of the atom. Simply just like you are hitting one ball with another ball. That was the idea of Einstein. So he has used particle-particle interaction for the explanation of photoelectricity. Okay. Yes. Photon has a momentum, but its momentum is not to be understood like mv, because m of the photon is not understood. Okay, it has momentum, but momentum must be explained as the product of mass and velocity, right? So photon must not be having a mass. So how to resolve this issue? How to understand? I have momentum, but I don't have mass. So that is not possible to understand. That's why what we will do is we will express momentum in terms of energy, not in terms of mv. Okay, we will not explain momentum in terms of mv, but for solving of certain need questions, for the solving of certain multiple choice questions, objective questions, we use mv. We do not use mv, we use mc. Okay, wherever it comes, don't get confused in that, oh, they have taken mass for photon. Not like that. We simply conceptually took to resolve certain mathematical nuances. Okay, to adjust for our mathematical solving, we might have used MC somewhere in the neat solving, in the questions solving, but theoretically MC for photon is not defined clearly. Okay, because c is the velocity of light, because that's what the velocity of light. That's what the velocity information, the light particle goes. MC, it should not be taken as MC. This is not valid. So how do you explain momentum then? How do you explain momentum? To explain momentum, Einstein uses his own theory. What is that? E is equal to mc square. His own very popular formula he has. Means the energy of any particle in the universe is to be understood as the mass of that particle and mc into square of the velocity of light, mc square. You can write it as mc into c, right? mc into c. Light has momentum. In the place of that mc, simply write p and c. So energy of a photon is to be understood, to be taken as pc. P means momentum of the photon. Don't resolve it as mc. Okay, for understanding purpose I am writing this as mc, but it is not mc of the photon, because mass of the photon is 0. In that way, energy of every photon is to be taken as 0. Okay, that's why don't bring mass over here, because it will spoil everything. So E is equal to Pc is the expression for momentum of the photon. Okay, energy E is the energy of the photon, C is the velocity of light which it is moving, and P is the momentum of the photon. Okay, so we will write it as photon has a momentum, P is equal to E by C. Photon has a momentum, P is equal to E by C. That is the momentum of the photon in which it is explained. Okay, so these three are the most important characteristics of a photon. Most important characteristic features of the photon. You can make it elaborate. You can make it even more sophisticated by having another additional terms like intensity of light, intensity of light is simply number of photons emitted is directly proportional to this. Directly proportional to intensity of light is directly proportional to the number of photons emitted. That is, I is directly proportional to n, number of photons. Let's also call it as NP. NP means what? Number of photons emitted. So I think to explain the characteristics of a photon, maximum they may ask you any three, four characteristics of a photon, or any 5 characteristics of a photon. We will add another 5th conjecture also. So E is equal to h nu. Momentum of the photon can also be explained using photon is a packet of energy. Simply add this. Enough. Photon is simply a packet of energy, not a material particle. Okay. So it is not to be thought as a sand particle. It should not be taken as an electron. It should not be taken even as a proton, or you should not take it as a ball. It is not a material particle. It is a packet of energy. Okay. It is simply condensate of energy, concentrated energy. Okay. That is packet of energy. So these are the 5 aspects you can write, and you will get full marks. My guarantee is there. Okay. So photon is the quantum of light, having energy this much. Rest mass of a photon is 0. Very important. You should not forget this to write. Photon has a momentum which is given as P is equal to E by C, where C is the velocity of light. Don't forget to mention velocity of light in vacuum. Okay. And intensity of light is directly proportional to the number of photons emitted per second. Photon is simply a packet of energy, not a material particle. Material particle alla anta namu. Okay. Yes. These are called the characteristics of a photon. In examination, I think in 2015, they have asked this question. Mention any 3 properties of a photon. Instead of characteristics, if they ask properties of a photon, same answer must be written. Okay, that is not a different answer. The same answer has to be written. Characteristics of a photon, properties of a photon. Okay, both are same. If they ask you again, just write these lists. Okay, fine. Hope you have taken this. I will give some time for you to write this. Okay. Okay. So now let's go to de Broglie hypothesis after this. Okay? Yeah. Hypothesis. Hypothesis means, what do you mean by hypothesis? Hypothesis means it's a concept given with logical explanation. It is a possibility. Okay? Later it has to be proved. Hypothesis means it is an idea. It's just a guesswork. It's not even guesswork. It is not even a concept. Hypothesis means a physically plausible, a physically conducive concept. Okay, which can be made possible, which suits to your mathematical framework. That's called hypothesis. Okay. So far we have seen that light is a wave. But Einstein said that light is not a wave, but it is a particle. It is a particle, he said. We thought that light is a wave, but Einstein explained it is a particle. Fine. Later, the reverse argument has come in 1924. In 1924, by Prince Louis Victor de Broglie. He was a prince. He belonged to a French royal family. Okay, Prince Louis Victor de Broglie. Actually, we are pronouncing it very wrong. Okay, it should not be de Broglie. Okay, de Broglie we have to pronounce. That's what a French pronunciation. So it's supposed to be Broglie. It's not Broglie. Okay, whatever it is, we will pronounce it according to our convenience. We are Indians. Okay, 1924, he proposed a hypothesis, and more surprisingly, his brother was a physicist. Not Louis Victor de Broglie was not a physicist. He was not a physics man. Okay, he was a historian. He studied history. Very strange, right? Yes. But his brother was a physicist. He was studying physics. So he was just discussing with his brother. He was immensely interested in history and mathematics. De Broglie was immensely interested in mathematics and history. That was the time when quantum mechanics was under progress. New concepts were coming out, and Niels Bohr has put forward a theory of hydrogen atom that we are going to discuss in the next chapter. The whole world was under a revolution, a physical revolution, a conceptual revolution. We were thinking about atoms, we were thinking about the world in a new, totally different aspect. In such areas, in such a time, a man from history department has contributed this particular idea of dual nature of matter and radiation. Okay, he was one of the pioneers of this particular concept. So what was his concept? He has given a concept. A material particle can be a wave. If wave can be a particle, why not a particle can be thought as a wave? Okay, but that if a wave, light, a classical example for wave, shows particle behavior in photoelectric effect. Not only in photoelectric effect, I will just forget to mention one very important thing. Not only photoelectric effect, there was something called Compton effect. Okay, in examination also, for NEET also, this is very important. Photoelectric effect and Compton effect are the two phenomena which were used taking light as a particle. Okay, Compton effect also, to explain Compton effect also, you should consider light as a particle. To explain photoelectric effect also, you should consider light as a particle. So these two are the experiments, the phenomena which proved that light must be taken as a particle. Okay, how light was a wave? Interference is there. See, interference, diffraction, etc. Polarization. So these are all coming in your optics chapter, if you see. Okay, all these three aspects: interference, diffraction, and polarization. These three are the things which makes it possible that light is a wave. If you take light as a particle, it is impossible to explain these three phenomena. So light is a wave. Taking that into consideration, these three phenomena are explained. But light is a wave. If you take it, photoelectric effect and Compton effect cannot be explained. So you should consider that light is a particle for this. Okay, that is over. Now we will see. But now what we have understood is light is neither a particle nor a wave. It will act in both ways. It will exhibit interference also. It will exhibit photoelectric effect also. To put it very simply, take a metallic surface, put a small slit. Okay, you don't know about interference, so if I explain it also, you cannot get it. Interference means it is a phenomenon in which if light is passed through two slits, if you on a torch on the surface of a cardboard, and having two slits, two openings, then light will pass through these two slits and it will produce multiple images of those slits. This is called interference, not two slits. Okay, two slits means two images must be there on the screen, right? If you put light here, only two images of light must be there, but not like that. You will get hundreds of such images. This is interference. You cannot explain it using particle nature of light. Okay, this is interference pattern. You see, light. This is a metallic sheet. Light falls over this metallic sheet. Since it is a metal and light is ultraviolet, suppose, then ultraviolet light falls over this metal surface and electrons are ejected from this metal surface. Electrons are ejected from this metal surface. That is due to photoelectric. And light passes through these slits and will distribute. Light will pass through these two slits and it will distribute and it will produce fringe patterns on the screen. It is interference. So light will produce both the phenomena. So what is light? Is it a particle? When it falls on metal surface, it is a particle. When it passes through slits, it is a wave. Okay. So light has this dual nature. Light has this dual nature. That's why dual nature of matter and radiation. Radiation means light. Light has this dual nature. It is by particle also, wave also. Okay. Dual nature of radiation we saw in the beginning. Dual nature of light we have seen. Dual nature of matter is left. Okay, that we are coming into. Okay. Yes. Now you need to understand why this chapter is called dual nature of matter and radiation. Now we have clearly seen light is a wave, light is a particle, it has dual nature. So light, dual nature of radiation is over. Dual nature of matter, now we are coming in by Louis Prince Victor de Broglie. So let's come to this argument again. He thought that a particle can be a wave, not the particle like a pseudo particle like light. Light is not a material particle. Okay, you know that light is not a material particle. He is talking in terms of real particles. What are those real particles? Like electrons, like protons, you know, not photons, protons which are inside the nucleus, neutrons, and a tennis ball, ping pong ball, saswe card, jeerge, rastas, sand particle, okay, such particles, football, earth, we human beings, this camera, this board, so these are all particles, these are all having shape, size, volume, everything, okay. Such regular particles he is thinking of, he is taking into consideration. And these particles are also having wave nature. Is it not very strange? Because see, we are particle bodies. We are not waves, we never behave like waves. If I am speaking here, my sound energy will be distributed throughout this room. But am I distributed here? I am at a certain position, I have a certain shape. I am at a particular position from the edge of the board. My position is clearly defined. But what is the position of a wave? Where is the sound wave in this room? Sound wave is everywhere. It is distributed. Distribution is the property of a wave. Localization is the property of a particle. A particle cannot be found everywhere. I cannot say I am in the last bench also, I am in the first bench also, I am in the dais also, I am in the board also. Not like that. I cannot say that. I cannot say that because I cannot distribute like a wave. I am not a wave because I am a particle. I have a certain very well defined position, very well defined color, very well defined structure. I have very well defined physical attributes. But wave is not like that. But de Broglie says everything is a wave. A particle can be a wave also. But why not? We are able to appreciate the nature of wave. Then how do you explain wave for such particles like a electron, a very small particle, proton, a very small particle, neutron, a very small particle? He says that as and when the particle becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, its wave nature becomes more and more and more emphasized, more and more pronouncing, he says. Andre ವಸ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೋ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಣ್ಣದಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೋ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇವ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್, ವೇವ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲೆಯ ಗುಣ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ವಸ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗ್ತಾ ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇವ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಗುಣ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗ್ತಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಸೇಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಂಡ್ ಹಿ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ದ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸಚ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಅವನು ಬರೀ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಗಳು ವೇವ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಗಳ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಹಿ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಎ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅಜ್ಜಿ ಕತೆ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ ಅವನೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಸಿ ಎ ಸ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್, ಎ ಟೆನ್ನಿಸ್ ಬಾಲ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್. He says tennis ball is a wave. He says it is not a particle, it is a wave. Somebody will call him, somebody will ask, yo, okay, it's a wave. Then what? How to calculate its wavelength? Because every wave has a wavelength. You know what do you mean by wavelength? It is the distance between two consecutive crests and troughs. Okay, or it is the distance traveled by the wave in one oscillation, one complete oscillation. Okay, so if you call a tennis ball as a wave, then how to calculate its wavelength? You tell me. Then a particle is moving with the velocity v. Let its mass be m. Let its mass be m. A particle has a mass because that is the basic nature of a particle. It has a mass and it is moving. It is moving with the velocity v. Then to say it in simple terms, it has got a momentum. Because every particle has got a momentum, it has mass, it has velocity, it has got momentum. Fine. Then according to de Broglie, he has used two very important equations of his time. That was E is equal to mc square. This is to explain the energy hidden in every object, that is Einstein's mass energy relationship. He has used that every particle has an inherent energy, and that the total energy content in a particle, if you convert this chalk piece completely into energy, then mass of this chalk piece into c square will be the equivalent amount of energy you can get from by disappearing, by dissolving this chalk piece, by making this chalk piece completely converted into energy. E is equal to mc square. And also he has used another thing, h, because this is for particle nature of matter, this is for wave nature of matter. Particle and wave nature of matter, both, because E is equal to h nu is from Max Planck. Both are speaking energies only. This is also explaining about energy, this is also explaining about energy. Using these two formulae, blending these two formulae, he has obtained a relationship for the wavelength of a material particle. Okay, so according to the process, mc square is equal to h nu. Fine. H nu can be written as hc by lambda. You already know this. What is c? Velocity of light. What is lambda? Lambda is the wavelength of the particle. Okay, lambda is the wavelength of the particle. If you take light as a particle, then it is the wavelength of that particular particle. mc square is the energy of that particular particle having mass m. Remember, this formula does not have mass, but this formula has mc square. Okay, yes. Now mc square is equal to hc by lambda. mc square is equal to hc by lambda. c get cancelled. So what remains here? mc. So you know that mc is theoretically the momentum of the particle, right? We are speaking in terms of light. We are thinking in terms of light, right? So mc is equal to h by lambda. It is for light. But this is now what is moving is not light. What is moving is now is not light. It is tennis ball. Tennis ball is not a light particle. It has got a particular mass called m, particular velocity called v. So for that particular thing, we have to use this as mc square must be written as mv square, and h into v by lambda we have to take. Then v get cancelled. So h by mv is equal to lambda. H by mv is equal to lambda, or in other words, to bring lambda here, h divided by mv will come in the denominator. H by mv is the formula for wavelength of such a tennis ball. Wavelength of a tennis ball is equal to h by mv, where h is Planck's constant, and its value also you know, Planck's constant The first PO only you have seen this 6.634 into 10 to the power of minus 34 June 2nd. We know the value of H, and M is the mass of particle. And V is the velocity of the particle. Velocity of the particle. Okay. This is the thing. Okay, lambda is equal to h by m. This is what we have understood. This is called de Broglie's relationship. De Broglie relationship for wavelength of matter wave. Wavelength of the matter wave. De Broglie's relationship for the wavelength of the matter wave. This is the relationship. Okay, don't forget. This is very important. In examination, they may ask you to write this expression and explain the terms. Okay, simply write the expression and explain what is involved here, what is H, what is M, what is V. Okay, lambda is the wavelength of that particular particle. According to him, a table tennis ball, even though it is moving in a straight line, but it is not actually having a straight line motion. It is having small wavelength motion like this. It is having a wave motion. It is actually moving in wave behavior, but its wavelength is so small that you cannot notice whatever he says. But it goes in a straight line. No, it is not going in a straight line. Actually, it is going in wave nature. It is moving in wave nature. It is distributed in space, but its heavier mass has made its distribution localized, and its motion has become less kinky, means less wavy, less hovering, okay, less perturbed, like that. So let's calculate what is the wavelength of a tennis ball whose mass is let's take as 100 grams. Okay, 100 gram is the mass of a particle, which is a tennis ball, and let us throw it. Let us throw a tennis ball. Okay, with what velocity we can throw it with say 10 meter per second. Okay, 10 meter per second is the velocity of the ball with which you can throw. Tennis ball with 10 meter per second speed you can throw per second 10 meters. Just imagine, it is a very terrible velocity. Okay, for you to throw. So lambda is equal to H is 6.634 into 10 to the power of minus 34 divided by mass of the particle 100 grams. 100 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kg. You should convert grams into kg, and 10 meter per second is the velocity of the ball. So according to this, it is 100 into 10 is 1000. 1000 into 10 to the power of minus 3 cancelled. So remaining is 6.634 into 10 to the power of minus 34 meters. Can you imagine this wavelength? Can you imagine this wavelength? 10 to the power of minus 10 meters. 10 to the power of minus 10 meters is the wavelength range of what? Light waves. Light waves have 10 to the power of minus 10, which is unimaginably small. Okay, which is smaller to the size of atoms, because X-rays are as small as atoms. X-rays wavelengths are as small as atoms. They range from 1 angstrom to 100 angstrom. 1 angstrom to 100 angstrom. This is the wavelength range of X-rays. If you go even smaller than this, 1 angstrom and smaller, 0.1 angstrom. 0.1 angstrom is 10 to the power of minus 11 meters. 0.1 angstrom means smaller than atom. 10 to the power of minus 2 angstrom. 10 to the power of minus 12 meters. 10 to the power of minus 12 meters. 10 to the power of minus 15 meters if you go. If you go to 10 to the power of minus 15 meters. Okay, 10 to the power of minus 15 meters, it is called 1 Fermi, which is the size of a nucleus, atomic nucleus. If you go even smaller than this, you may reach 10 to the power of minus 20, which is smaller than the nucleus of an atom, which is highly, nucleus itself is unimaginable, and 10 to the power of minus 20 is highly impossible wavelength for you to understand. And now what is the wavelength of the tennis ball? 10 to the power of minus 34 meters, which is smaller of the smallest possible wavelength, which is unimaginable. We think that is the limit of our perception. No, that is not possible to understand. That's why that smaller wavelength is not imagined. So that kind of wavelength it has. That's why it looks as if we cannot write it also. Even though whatever you write, it is having a wavelength of several millimeters, 10 to the power of minus 3 meters. So it is 10 to the power of minus 34 meters, means you cannot notice the wave shaking nature of the tennis ball going. That's why it appears straight to you. Even if you take the electron, okay, this tennis ball is a big thing. It's a very, very big thing. Leave it. Just leave it. We will take the electron. Electron is the smaller particle. It's a very, very small particle whose mass is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. Okay. It's a very small particle. Then it must be having specific wave nature, a measurable wavelength, so that we can measure, we can understand. Okay, let's try. If you try here, lambda is equal to h is the 6.634 into 10 to the power of minus 34 as usual, divided by mass of the electron is 9 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. Electron's velocity, usually electron whenever it is moving, it is not moving 10 meter per second or 20 meter per second. It moves always with say 10 lakh meter per second. So of the order of 10 to the power 6 meter per second. Actually, electrons are highly energetic particles. Okay, whenever they are attracted towards a plate, whenever they are attracted towards a positive plate, they move with terrible velocities, 10 to the power 6 meter per second. Okay, you can have slower electrons also.